Good morning, friends. Last time we saw Euclid's axioms and Euclid's postulate. Today we are going to do exercise 5.1 and a few additional examples making use of the axioms and the postulates. Yes, we'll do the exercise today so you'll get a clear view of how things are to be done. Okay, the first one is the true and false type. Question number 1. Only one line can pass through a single point. So in the diagram you can see a single point, a black dot, and the statement says, so can you guess whether it is true or it is false? Now we have done this before. The answer is false because an infinite number of lines can pass through a single point. It is not only one line. In actually, an infinite numbers of line can pass through a single point. Means if it only one point is given to you, then infinite lines can pass through that point. This is one line, then one more line can pass through the point. So we have done this before previously. I hope you remember that through one point infinite lines can pass. Statement 2. There are infinite numbers of lines that pass through two distinct points, true or false. So in this diagram you are given two distinct points. By the black dots you can see them. Now like we saw, through one point infinite lines can pass. Through the other point also infinite lines can pass. But how many lines can pass through both these points? So the statement says there are infinite numbers of lines that pass through two distinct points. So there should be infinite number of lines which pass through both these points. Let us see. It is false because from two distinct points only one straight line can pass. If the line is straight, then only one straight line can pass through two distinct points. So this is the line shown to you. There is only one line, which is straight line, which can pass through two distinct points. The third statement, a terminated line can be produced indefinitely on both sides. So we had done this in the previous lecture also. I hope you do remember. So what is the terminated line? See, the answer is true. It's Euclid's second postulate. What you can see the figure is a terminated line. Why it is a terminated line? Because it has got two endpoints shown by the black dots. Now remember, on this terminated line there can be an infinite number of points, but at the end there are only 2 points which are endpoints. Now you can produce it indefinitely means what? This line can be extended further in both the directions. So you can see this dotted line is extended further in one direction, also in the second direction. But is it extended till here only? So we have got an arrow to show. This arrow indicates that it can be extended indefinitely. It can be kept on extending in both the direction. So this statement was true. A terminated line can be produced indefinitely on both sides. So if you are given a terminated line is called a line segment, and this line produced indefinitely is called a line. The fourth statement, if two circles are equal, then the radii are equal. Radii is the plural of radius. It means to say, if two circles are equal, then their radius is also equal. The answer is true. Why? Because if the two circles are equal, say like two coins, two 1 rupee coins of the same year, if you place them one over the other, they will coincide. So two equal circles will always coincide. So if the circles coincide, then the radius. What is the radius? The radius is the distance from the center to any point on the circle. And there a circle has infinite radii, but they will be equal in nature. So we have got one circle here. You can see in the figure. We have another circle. Now if you can see, both the circles are equal. This is the radii of the first circle, the radius of the first circle, This is the radius of the second circle. If I lay one circle over the other and the circles are equal, then this length of the radius will also be equal. So this statement is true. If two circles are equal, then the radii will also coincide and they will also be equal. So this were true or false type which we did. Now we move on to the questions. Oh sorry, there is one more true and false. You are given three line segments here, terminated lines AB, PQ and XY. It says the first line AB is equal to the second line segment PQ. The line segment PQ is equal to the third line segment XY. So if AB, the first one is equal to the second one and the second one is equal to the third one, is the first and the third also equal? Yes. Why they are equal? Because they will coincide. Now the first one is equal to the second one means the first and the second will coincide. The second one PQ equal to XY. So let us see. I have drawn the points now. AB is equal to PQ. It is given. So AB and PQ will coincide. PQ equal to XY is given. So PQ and XY will coincide. So AB coincides with PQ. Is if you take AB and move it to PQ, they will coincide. If you take XY and move it to PQ, they will coincide. Since both of them will coincide, then AB and XY will also coincide and hence AB is equal to XY. So the statement is true. Now we move to a definition. These are very important. These are theoretical questions, can be asked in the exam for 1 or 2 marks. Definition. Give a definition for each of the following terms. Then we have to say, are there other terms that need to be defined first? What are they and how you might define them? So first is parallel lines. What are parallel lines? Two lines in a plane are said to be parallel if they have no common point. No common point means even if you extend the two lines, there should be no point which is on both the lines. There cannot be even a single point which is on both the points. If there is no such point, then they are said to be parallel lines. So you got a line X and a line Y, as you can see in the figure, and these two lines are parallel lines because they will never meet or never have a point in common. Now you know a line can be extended indefinitely in both the directions. So if you extend x in both direction and y in both direction, they will never meet. And the distance between these two lines will always remain the same. Means it never ever meets. So such lines are called parallel lines. So what is the definition of parallel lines again? Two lines in a plane are said to be parallel if they have no common point. Means, in other words, even when you extend them, they will never meet. Here the term point is undefined. Why the term point is undefined? Because by the axiom we said point is a breathless, point has got no dimensions at all. The term point has got no dimension. It is an undefined term, and a line is also undefined, but two lines are parallel if they have nothing in common. They have no common point. Now, like I told you, note that the distance between two parallel lines remain the same. The next definition is about perpendicular lines. When are two lines said to be perpendicular? We have a line Q here and a line P here. Now the definition. Two lines in a plane are said to be perpendicular if they intersect each other at right angle. So if you can see the point of intersection, yes, this is the point of intersection, the point common to both, and these lines make an angle of 90 degree, or you can say the lines are perpendicular. This is the notation, P is perpendicular to Q. So again, two lines in a plane are said to be perpendicular if they intersect each other at one right angle. Can you see the angle between P and Q? It's 90 degree. So they both are perpendicular lines. The next definition, okay, here the term right angle is undefined. We have not yet defined what a right angle is, but we have still shown what are perpendicular lines. Okay, the next definition is of line segment. Now if you see the 2 points shown by the black dot, so you can measure a line segment. Why? If you see the 2 black dots, then the terminated line between 2 endpoints is called a line segment. So line segment, the word shows the word segment. Segment means a piece. So a piece of the line is a line segment, and it has got 2 endpoints, means it terminates. Now what I've drawn the dotted lines is the extension, but we are not worried about the extension. We have to only see what is the distance between these 2 points indicated by the line segment. So we have 2 points here AB. So the definite length between A and B, you can see the length between A and B is the line segment AB and is represented by writing a line over AB. Now notice that the line segment on AB has got no arrows, means it is terminating. It has got 2 endpoints. A line segment has got 2 endpoints, it terminates. So the definite length can be measured. This definite length between 2 points is called a line segment. Now here the terms point and indefinite length are undefined. The next definition is radius of a circle. The distance from the center to a point on the circle is called the radius of the circle. So I have a circle, I have a center and a point on the circle. The center is O and the point on the circle is A. So in this figure, OA is the radius of the circle. So how do we define radius? The distance from the center O to a point on the circle A is called the radius of the circle. Again, if you see, the radius is also a line segment, and because a line segment can be measured, means the radius of the circle can also be measured. So again, the radius is a line segment which has 2 endpoints. One endpoint is the center of the circle and one endpoint is any point on the circle. So this is the definition of radius. Here the term point and center are undefined. So we have not defined them yet, but we'll do it later when we do the chapter on circles. Now square. What is the definition of a square? So you can see here we are going into a mathematical vocabulary. What is a mathematical vocabulary? Every word in mathematics here has a specific meaning. So if you understand the geometrical meaning of each and every word, then geometry will become very easy for you. You should know what a line segment is, what a line is, what different shape like a square, a rectangle, a circle is. If you can understand the definition, it will become simpler. So here we have a square. A square is a rectangle having same length and breadth, means the length and breadth are equal. Now a rectangle has 4 sides where opposite sides are equal. The length and breadth may or may not be equal, but if the length and breadth are equal, means all the 4 sides should be equal, making a square. So here we have got a square ABCD. What do you observe here? In the figure AB, BC, CD and DA, all the 4 sides are equal. So square, you can also say, now you can define the square as a rectangle in which all the 4 sides are equal, or a square is a rectangle having same length and breadth. Here the terms undefined are length and breadth. So I hope till now you are understanding what definition is. A definition means it is definite. Definite means it has got a clear meaning. So we have introduced words like rectangle, square, circle, radius, line, intersecting lines, parallel lines, perpendicular lines. This all the words have got a definite meaning. So do remember it. Okay, now we move on to the next question. This question is, consider 2 postulates given below. Now, which are the postulates? We have done these postulates. Given any two distinct points A and B. So think of any 2 points A and B. There exists a third point C which is between A and B. Okay, I hope you got the meaning of the first postulate. Given any two distinct points A and B, there exists a third point C which is between A and B. And the second postulate, there exists at least 3 points that are not on the same line. So if you draw two lines, we have seen before, when we have only 2 points, then there is one line which passes through the 2 points. Now when you have 3 points, when you take 3 different points on a plane, there can be conditions like all the 3 points lie on the same line, or all the 3 points don't lie on the same line. When all the 3 points lie on the same line, then they are collinear points. When all the points don't lie on the same line, they are called non-collinear points. So here these two postulates are given. We have to say whether these postulates contain any undefined terms. Are these postulates consistent? Do they follow Euclid's postulate? We have to explain. So again you see the conditions. We are given 2 points A and B, and we are given a point C which lies between A and B. So now we have got 3 points, and the second postulate is there exist at least 3 points that are not on the same line. So what you can see here, we have to talk about the point C. Now if 2 points A and B are given, there exists a third point C which is between A and B. So the first condition is there, we can have a point C, because between 2 points A and B there can be infinite points. So there can be a third point C lying between A and B. But this point C between A and B may or may not be on the line joining AB. So if you take 2 points A and B and join the line, the point C can be between A and B, but it may not be on the line joining A and B. So what do we have here? There can be 3 points which may or may not be on the same line. So we can have a third point between A and B, but we don't know whether the third point, it is not mentioned it lies on line AB, okay, on the line joining AB. So there can be 3 points which may or may not be on the same line. But we can say these postulates are consistent. Why? Consistent means it is either true or false. So the point C may either lie on the line between A and B, or may not lie. Both the conditions we cannot be at the same time, that the point C is lying on the line also and not lying on the line also. So there are many undefined terms which should be listed. They are consistent because they deal with two situations. So I hope you understood what is the meaning of the word consistent. The word consistent means both the situations are different. It is not the same situation. Situation 1 is that point C lies between A and B, but the point C may be on the line joining A and B. Situation 2, the point C may not be on the line joining A and B. So only one of this situation can occur. So these two situations can be called consistent because both cannot occur at the same time. So this is a brief idea. This is the exercise we have done so far, but the exercise is not yet complete. The exercise has got a few more sums and we will deal with that later on. But here I have solved a few examples again. We did some true or false statements. Now how do we know whether the statements are true or false? For that we need to know Euclid's axioms. To know whether any mathematical statement is true or false, we have to be aware of axioms and the postulates of Euclid. So once you understand the axioms and postulate, you have to see every statement and check by the postulate whether they are true or false. So we saw a few true or false statements. We have even given definitions. We have given a few definitions here. There are more definitions, but like I told you, have to remember that these mathematical definitions have a particular vocabulary. When I say parallel lines, you should have a mental picture of parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines which never intersect. When I say perpendicular lines, you should imagine lines which intersect each other at 90 degrees. So parallel lines and perpendicular lines have a definite meaning. When I say circle, you know which shape I am talking about. When I say radius of the circle, you have to imagine a line segment whose one end point is the center of the circle and another point is any point on the circle. So since we have done this, I want you to see the video once again and try to understand the mathematical vocabulary. Once you are sure about the mathematical vocabulary, geometry is going to become much simpler. Next lecture, we are going to continue with the other sums. Okay, so revise it once more and be thorough with it. Thank you.